Hi, and welcome to the Boat Princess podcast. My name is Nikki Vo, and I'm your host. I'm a boat owner, a marinas owner, an international conference presenter, and a huge advocate for boating. I'm sharing the stories from every nook of the boating industry with the intention of encouraging more women to join me and for more women to get behind the helm too. I want to share the experience and opportunities of boating, of the boating industry, and I want you to join me as I bring the conversations and answer all the questions you've had. Boating is not just for the glamorous and rich and famous. It's full of beautiful and interesting people making the most of our natural environment and getting out there enjoying the waterways. So let's let off the lines, take over the helm, and escape to the world of boating. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Boat Princess podcast. Really interesting interview for you today. We are at Southampton Boat Show and I am going to be interviewing Paul Taylor, who is the new owner of Fairline Yachts. So Paul, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. And lovely to meet the princess.
Thank you. Now, I have to say, I usually do a fair amount of research on my interviewees before I go into a podcast, but you are actually pretty hard to research. So we're going to explore you a bit today, if that's all right.
Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah.
Brilliant. So tell me, where did your career start?
I came out of banking in the city. So I started in the city. I wasn't a university grad, so I started early at 16. Started as a runner before computers were a thing in the city, running trades around. Went into a trading background, from there into structured finance, worked my way to virtually the top of the bank, and then left to set up my own private equity practice in 2006 after about 20-something years in banking and finance.
Okay, so can you just explain to our listeners what private equity is?
Yeah, it's an investment philosophy into various sectors and industries. Mostly we specialize in different ones per private equity firm. I've invested in service companies, care homes, hospitality, hotels, motorway service areas, mostly with a real estate backing over the years. My fund invested up to 15 billion before we closed it back in 2010. So I've invested across the UK, a little bit in Europe. I still own some hotels in Portugal, for instance, but I've dropped down now. I've got to the heady heights of nearly 63. I've dropped the portfolio down a lot. And now I'm investing privately in, again, some hotels and some real estate, but latterly Fairline Yachts.
Okay. And you had a marina in for a while in Portugal,
Yep, I owned the resort of Villamora in Portugal for 3 or 4 years, where I was president, with my partners Lone Star Capital, which are the biggest private equity firm, or one of them in the world. Together we did that, part of which was a marina. It's the second largest marina in Europe. We exited that about 6 years ago. And here we are in Fairline. No connection at all. But myself and my partner, a guy called Robin Southwell, are the two investors in Fairline.
Okay. Why? Why did you suddenly think that going into Fairline was a good idea?
There's a lot of reasons. One is iconic brand. 50 years from the days of Jack Newington till now, I was completely taken by the provenance of the brand. Secondly, its British nature. Too many British businesses are going bust at the moment. There's so much pressure on British manufacturing businesses that I thought we could make a difference. It needed to be saved, and I felt compelled to try and do that. I've got to add, I'm not a marine expert, but what was interesting about Fairline was there was nothing wrong with the product. There's nothing wrong with these boats. They're the most beautiful boats and beautiful product in its class, probably in the world. So what I saw was a boatyard and the best people and the best product, but what I saw was a broken financial management system. And I come from finance, so I thought I could fix that. I can't fix boats, but I can fix how this is managed. And we think we found a way, and I'm pretty confident we have, to turn this company back to where it should be We're only 5 months old at the moment, but we think we can turn it back through financial management to where it once was. Because these boats, handcrafted, exceptionally made by exceptional people out of Oundle, also with an exceptional dealer network, which is very close to us, and we have good relations. That was all there. It just needs very good financial hands on the tiller and a different way of looking at it, the funding model. And I think we can be back to where we were.
I like the way that you're already using voting terms, Paul. Hand on the tiller. Well done.
Yeah, but the trouble is every pun has something to do with the boat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So it makes life quite difficult.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds to me like a man who is 63, not 33, making that decision, because there's a lot of responsibility in that statement of wanting to save a British manufacturer, wanting to get involved in it, because that's a fundamental value for you, obviously, there.
Very much. And we've got to remember at Fairline, this is a very fragile ecosystem. So, and what do I mean by that? We've got 200 really good people at the factory in Oundle. We've got very close relationships with our key dealerships all around the world, which we have to foster and stay close to. And we're rebuilding bridges with that dealer network, which had a rough time whilst we were trying to pull this back together. And together, we're getting there. So the responsibility is not just in the people, not just for the money, but equally for the dealers that do such a really, really good job in pulling this back to where it should be. And also the design team that we've got, which are already putting out a new designed 55, which you've probably heard about.
Yeah, well, you need to be here a bit more about that. That'd be nice to hear about that. So how do you feel coming into this industry you've come from finance space? It is quite a different industry. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed anything immediately that strikes out at you as a way we do things differently?
Very much so. There's certainly a lot more moving parts in a manufacturing business like this. So it's a lot more complex. So when I go back to my investments in banks and in service companies, the moving parts are a lot less. Here, there are a lot of moving parts. But as I said before, the expertise around the boatyard and the expertise inherent in the dealer network wraps around you, and it protects you from that. The only real thing we got to fix and are fixing is the funding model, and we're bringing new financial ideas to Oundle and the boatyard, and that combination of expertise that we've brought into and our financial expertise and our financial management, I think, is a great combination that takes us forward. But manufacturing is a completely different game, and we were talking about boats on a production line, maybe 18 months, right? We're talking about design teams. We're talking about interiors. We're talking about what teak it is and what finish it is. That's a whole new machination for me. But common denominator is this has to be managed properly through the supply chain management, through better front end funding, etc. And that's what I think we can bring. And we are facing into a really soft market. 26, all the indications are from everybody that 26 will be a soft market. So my job is to stabilise Fairline, which we're doing, and get it into a position to ride through 26 and be best positioned for an upturn when it comes, which we think may be 27, and be in a really strong position for that. And that's what we're attempting to do now.
So as a financier, why do you think there's going to be a turn in 2027? Can I ask you that?
A number of factors, really. The first is if you look at where the markets are now, they have bottomed out a lot across international markets. Whether they go much further down is a question, and I could have called that wrong, but they look like we're bottoming out, and a lot of the damage has already been done. Marine is just a victim of the general geopolitical situation. I don't think it will last forever. And I'm already seeing some upticks in new areas that we haven't gone into yet that could take us forward. We're looking at territories now that are not in our dealer network, which we have relationships in, and we can take the business into those areas. So that combination gives me confidence that a year out from now that we will start to see a lot more scale.
Yeah. Do you actually think there's a little bit of a pent up sort of energy in people, that a lot of people have been incredibly cautious with their money recently, and then they do get to a point, don't they? They go, oh, look, just sod it. I'm just going to go and buy the boat. Do you think there's a little bit of that as well at the moment?
We call it in the financial industry safe harbour, which is another boating term, right? So they do cross over, but people in the last 2 or 3 years have been looking for safe harbour. So the safe harbour is going to be gold, or it's going to be stick it away in a bank, hoping the bank doesn't go bust, etc. So the out there purchases have been less. But there's two different markets. If you go to the super yacht market, super yacht market is going gangbusters at the moment. But that's a different level of cash and a different level of wealth. Here, we're dealing with customers that have the wealth but want to have a serious think before they part with it. Because, you're talking about £3 to £4 million for the top end yacht. It's not 100 million, but it's people that have built that over years, and they want to make sure that they've got that safe harbour plus an impulsive purchase. I was on a boat the other day, actually. It was quite interesting when I heard a salesman answer a question to a customer, and it was something like, the customer said, well, this is not a very necessary purchase, is it? And the salesman said to him, no, it's not necessary, but it's essential. And I thought to myself, you know what, that's a really great line for our yachts. Not necessary, but essential.
Yes.
But when you're dealing with customers at the 3 to 4 million line, they are people that take spending that money a lot more seriously. So it will come, but it's going to come over a longer period, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with the salesman. Once you've been into boating, I don't think you can possibly let go of it. It is essential, I think, now, and I think it's going to get more important as we face more AI, more technology. Yeah. That it is a complete juxtaposition to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that therefore a time on a boat is going to be a very special time that we all make memories on boats that we will never forget.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to become more so the more lack of reality we have in our lives, the fake videos, the fake everything that's going on in our worlds. Being on our boat is a very real moment. Do you agree with that sort of future that we're looking at?
Well, that's a tricky question. I mean, it's kind of generational as well, because someone of my age, it probably won't change a lot. But in the younger generations, if they have the wealth to do this, then maybe that could be a theme. But I haven't really thought that through particularly. I'm not sure how it would manifest, but yeah, potentially AI is changing everything, right?
Yeah.
The way we do everyday things right now is changing. So it's going to have an impact. I just don't quite know what impact it's going to have.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to think that, for me, boating is when I have a time on a boat with my friends, that is a time that we always remember. My friends always remember going out on my boat with me.
Yeah.
And it becomes very inherent, and we've heard all the research on Blue Mind about being in, on, and around the water, and how it actually changes our mindset and all that sort of thing. So I think boating is in for a good future. I think we're going to need it more than ever, to be honest.
I suppose the only challenge I might make to that is, and I see this only through my prism, but I chartered a boat a couple of weeks ago and had a week, and there were kids on my boat sitting on the boat with their phones. So it really didn't take them much away at all, apart from jumping in the water and getting back on the boat. They were on their phones and their iPads most of the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know is the answer.
Yeah. I think there are some boaters that are happy about Starlink being available, and there are others that are, can we not have it on the boat? Because that's the whole point of the boat.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting space that's changing, I think.
Well, I think it's generational, because those kids might not be thinking the same way later.
Yes.
So that could change. I mean, myself, I don't need a phone when I'm on a boat, but a lot of people like to keep in touch, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know which way that will go. But,
well, not only that, I don't know about you as a business owner. When we are not able to be contacted, it almost feels more stressful than if we can be contacted.
Yeah.
And we can do a little bit of something just to keep everything going.
Yeah.
I know my husband and I feel much more comfortable to be able to do that. Yeah. Nothing winds us up more than not having connectivity. So are you, as a business owner?
Yeah, I'm in your team with that. Yeah. Even though I'm doing a lot less now, I'm still in your team. I'd rather know what the issues are and deal with them day by day, rather than coming back 2 weeks down the road and finding 1,000 emails, some of which I've even missed. So I tried to stay in touch. But you can sit on the back of a boat and you can do that quite happily.
Yeah. Let's explore that for a minute in terms of you as a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
How do you find your life has been different to others in terms of what sort of flexibility, what sort of lifestyle have you been able to create as a business owner? Has it been more challenging than you thought it was going to be? Do you have, I know none of us have a true balance, but do you actually think there are some things that you as a business owner have gained that you wouldn't have done if you were working for somebody else for the rest of your life?
I'll tell you what the biggest challenge has been. When you come from an industry that I come from, which is very hands-on, which is 12 hours a day, 6-7 days a week at times, private equity is like that. When you come from a business like that, the biggest challenge you've got is actually to step back and to create that lifestyle balance. Now, I want to travel more. My wife wants to travel more. We want to do other things, but ownership's very difficult because you have to embrace the fact that you've delegated that power to an executive team. In the case of Fairline, I've got a really good executive team. I've got young Oliver Southwell and Dan Mundy, who are two of my guys running the business. They do it exceptionally well. The biggest challenge for me is to be able to step back and give them all of the discretion they need to do their jobs. And it sounds a bit daft, but actually it's quite difficult to do.
I agree.
So you're becoming more of a chairman than you are a CEO.
Yes.
But because you're that kind of obsessive personality, you've sometimes got to keep your hands off. Otherwise, you're back in again. And otherwise, you've got no balance. So that's the biggest challenge, is actually to step back from it and say, you've got a strategy, you know what you're doing, go and do it, and look at the business maybe once a week, in due course once a month. That's the biggest challenge for me. You can't help touching it and getting involved, right?
Yeah. I know exactly. We're currently going through that process with our marinas. Mm-hmm. We have a CEO, and we're having to step back. And it is a very interesting process because they do it differently to how you would do it. Yeah. So you have to let them do it how they would do it, because they do an exceptional job of it.
Exactly right.
And you've just got to let them do it.
Yeah. No, exactly right. But that's been the biggest challenge in seeking that lifestyle balance. And I'm just starting to get into that lifestyle balance. Some people might say a little bit late, but I think it's a good time. Yeah.
I know you've been involved in lots of private equity deals and things in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that really sticks out that was really exciting or it was really tough, or one that you really learned a lesson from?
It's obvious for me, and it's publicised. It was the attempted takeover of Sainsbury's back in 2007. Probably find some press somewhere, I think. So it was a 15 billion takeover of Sainsbury's. We had the whole deal signed. I bought 25% at 2.5 billion as a dawn raid, which was very exciting. Everyone was signed up to doing it, so it was public to private. It would have been the biggest in UK history. And you probably remember that the markets crashed in 2007. Which stopped us actually completing the transaction. That was the biggest one that ever got away for me. And having to unravel that was a big learning. Yeah, that was probably the biggest lesson I ever learned. Don't take the markets for granted.
Yeah.
Because no one saw that coming. And I certainly didn't see it coming, but that stopped the transaction. And that was a big turning point for all of the private equity houses, but particularly for me, because that would have been the record-breaking transaction. And that was a year of my life. So that was a big lesson for me. Yeah.
Because that is literally a timing thing, isn't it?
Totally.
Purely timing. Yeah. Nothing you've done. It's just...
Yeah. And it's interesting. You can do all the homework. You can do all the research. You can be as clever as you think you are. But the one thing you can't bet on is what the market is going to do. And that was a tsunami that hit around about August 2007, if you remember it.
Yeah.
And it was devastating.
Yes.
Yeah, it really was. And I'm using another boating term now.
Yeah. You're getting good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting used to it, aren't you?
Throw a few more in.
It does help when we're sitting on the back of a boat.
Yeah. Not just a boat.
No, not just a boat.
Not just a boat. It's just a Fairline boat. Yeah.
We're sitting on a Targa 50 at the moment, aren't we?
We are, yeah.
Yeah. She's fabulous. So a Targa 50 open, and we're here in the middle of Southampton Boat Show. So It's sunny. I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's sunny.
The sun's out and I'm sitting here with the princess. It doesn't get much better, does it?
It doesn't get much better, does it? So what do you think the government could do? Because, it's lovely to talk to a brain like yours, a serious business brain.
Yeah.
The government is obviously the way it is at the moment.
Yeah.
Is there a particular thing that you think they could do to support British manufacturing? Because I don't know about you, but I was actually born in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I live in Australia and I love Australia with a passion, I still have a pull to the UK. Yeah. And I will never forget that amazing moment that Top Gear did, where they put all of the things that have been manufactured in the UK on Pall Mall.
Yeah.
And it was brought tears to the eyes of even non-Brits, I think, because it was just a wonderful, powerful moment of manufacturing does still exist in the UK. I would love that moment to happen on the water one day.
Yeah.
I really would.
Yeah.
What do you think government could do? Because there is some serious boat manufacturing in the UK. Is there anything you think they could just do to assist that?
Yeah, it's bigger than boat making. It's about creating a zeitgeist which is best in British, right? And one of the ethoses that I've got now of my investment activity is to try to be best of British. And I'd like to stick to that in my small portfolio. I want to make that the common denominator. I talk to government about this, and I still talk. And the best thing they could do is have a British investment bank.
Okay.
That's what they need to create. If they create a British investment bank and they seed that bank, a lot of people around the world, a lot of investors will come into that bank, and that bank will be solely to invest in UK manufacturing businesses and other businesses to bring the UK back to where it should be, because I can sense a bit of a political change happening. I think the British ascendancy is coming back, and as a consequence of that, if we could create in government a British investment bank to back businesses separate from government but sponsored by government, we certainly don't want politicians involved, but to be GB backed, I think would be one of the best things that we could do in the UK. It could be a home for the AI, it could be a hub for AI tech businesses, it could promote fintech, marine businesses like we're in, hospitality and other areas. And we don't do that. And a lot of countries do that. If you go to Switzerland, you'll see that. You go to Portugal, you'll see that. But you don't see it here. And it's the one thing I continue to lobby the government on when I get the chance, is to say, this is what you need to do.
And how do you do that? How are you involved with government? Are you part of an association group, or
no,
do you
not
just
at all.
directly go in and lobby?
I've got contacts. I talk to them. I try to get questions asked. I have no particular power at all, but I lobby in my own small way. I speak to different groups. I go to dinners and speak about this theme from time to time. I haven't got anywhere with it yet, but it's something that's got to happen. And because it's seen in other parts of the world, even in the US. Even under the Trump regime at the moment, they've got banks solely investing in American businesses. But there's no reason why we can't do that here. And the key is there's so many international investors that would like to invest through that conduit, a regulated conduit where they know it's safe and that know the investment deployment would be first class. And we've got a lot of first class businesses in the UK that could really do with capital, because the debt markets are relatively closed at the moment, so the capital markets are expensive. So consequently, a British bank stepping in and maybe even taking golden shares in some of these businesses to make sure they stay British and are not sold off the minute that somebody makes some money, that keeps them in Britain. It's British jobs, it's British taxation. It's where we should go. We really should do that, yeah.
That's a brilliant idea. Yeah, see, I knew you'd have something good.
Well, it's not good yet because it hasn't happened, but I think it could be good.
But it is, and I'd love the Australians to do the same.
Yeah.
The Commonwealth Bank used to be government owned. I'm not sure if it still is. I don't think it is. And
can you imagine the Great British Bank?
Yeah.
Sounds great, doesn't it?
It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
GBB, like it. Yeah. Paul, thank you so much for your time today. I've really appreciated it.
Not at all. Thank you for yours.
Yeah, no, it's really good to talk to you.
Yeah.
And
I'm honoured. My first podcast.
Yes.
And with the princess. I like that. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Not at all.
No, I really, you've done very well for your first podcast. That's very impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all I've got.
I thank you so much for taking over Fairline. As a brand, I really love it.
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic brand. I think the boats are wonderful,
Yeah.
awesome, beautifully designed, but also of a quality that I truly appreciate.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they have over some other brands.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important to retain as a brand because that's the British feel to a build, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just like a Bentley, just
Yeah.
like a, it's.
Yeah.
It
Have
is
you
a
been to
certain-
Arundel?
Yes, I
You
have.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. When were you last there?
I was there last, that would have been 3.5 years ago, something like that.
You need to come again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come next year.
Yeah.
And let's talk again.
Yeah.
Because we'll be another 6 months on maybe.
Yes.
And then you can see where we've reached and continue the story.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'd
All
love
right.
to because
Okay.
I'm really chuffed that you guys have taken this over.
Yeah.
And I spoke to Oliver the other day.
Yeah.
Fantastic interview. Such energy, such passion
Yeah.
for what he's doing.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, we're lucky to have him.
Yeah, so it's a good future ahead, I think, and I'm looking forward to seeing it develop. I really am.
Good.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Paul.
Nice to
Appreciate
meet
it.
you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thought I'd just jump in here and say thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I really appreciate you doing so. Please share it with your friends, tell people about it, and give us a review. We'd really appreciate a review. We'd like to know what you'd like to hear about as well. You can connect with us on LinkedIn, Nikki Vo, the Boat Princess, and Instagram at the Boat Princess. If you'd like to get involved in some of our events, then contact us at info@theboatprincess.com or simply sign up for our newsletter at theboatprincess.com. You take care. We'll see you on the water soon. It's lovely to have you here. We appreciate you. The Boat Princess podcast is hosted by Nikki Vo, produced by the Boat Princess Media, and available anywhere you get your podcast.